Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I really appreciate it. It's great to meet you.
And thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. I've been looking at some of your other stuff, and it's inspirational, frankly.
Right on. Thank you. So let's get into your story, your book, and I want to begin with this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed so much for all of us. How did you get through that era, and how did it influence the way that you do things today?
Well, actually, it completely slowed us down, almost stopped everything, and made me at least appreciate the fact that what we think we have control over, we don't,
Yeah.
and that our lives are a gift. And I got COVID and I got sick with it, and I thought, well, geez, is this the end? And so when I got past that feeling, that fear, then I really started to buckle down and write the book, frankly.
So let's get into exactly, along with the book and everything that you've done in your career, to get a
Hmm.
handle on your kind of career path. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, 12 years old.
All right.
We're in a grade school, it's career day. And one of the kids is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Well, I tell him I work as a personal injury plaintiff's lawyer, and that I've practiced law for 36 years. I've taught law school, taught continuing legal education events. I regularly talk to people that want to go to law school, explain to them what life is as a lawyer. And here's the common refrain that I tell them all. There are two things you have. One is your reputation. And if you have a reputation as being honest and upright, you'll go a long way. If you have a reputation as a bad, sneaky person, people figure that out quickly.
Yeah.
And the second thing I tell them, which is of critical importance, is that the law is a jealous mistress. That's for sure true, man.
Yeah, it is.
For
It
sure
totally.
true.
So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream life? Was it law or what was it?
That's the first time I did public speaking was when I was 12 years old. And I felt comfortable talking to people. And but what I really wanted to do was be a NASCAR driver.
Right on.
I loved cars. I still love cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big backyard and we had a little car with a standard transmission. I drove it around the backyard till I wore out the clutch. Um, so yeah, that was my. And my dad said, "Hey, you do have a brain, and you might think about, using your brain to better the world." It was how he put it to me, and that's why I became a lawyer, is because I do believe in justice. I do believe in the rule of law. And so there are times when actually I do feel as though justice has been served, which is rewarding.
So what were the foundational elements of your childhood? Where were you born and raised, and what were the elements that were planted that turned into this career in law, and more importantly, even being a writer now?
Well, I grew up in Marshall, Michigan, which is a small town on I-94, about halfway between Chicago and Detroit. And I began reading at a very early age, I think around 3 years old. And there was not a lot to do in that town. And so from age about 5 or 6 during the summer, I would walk or ride my bike to the library and pick up 4 or 5 books and take them home and read them. And so my fantasy world, unlike video games and so forth today, was built in my mind, my imagination of all these places I went to reading books. So from there, uh, I was fortunate enough to do well all through school. And then in high school, my debate team won the championship 2 years in a row. Uh, and then I went to Michigan, University of Michigan, and I was a pre-med student. I had made up my mind I was going to be a doctor. And then I became part of Michigan's debate team, and we traveled a lot. So my grades were not good enough to get into medical school. There you have it. Um, a lot of my buddies went to law school right away. I said, oh no, not me. This is 1975. I've got to find myself. And this was in the beginning of all sorts of stuff. Vietnam had just finished. Women's liberation had started. The Equal Rights Act had been enacted. The world was exploding around with possibilities. And I really did feel that our class song was The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. I really did feel it.
Yeah.
Um, I've been a bit disappointed since then, but that was my initial rush of enthusiasm as to what this world could be. I still have that hope, but uh, well, it could happen, let's say.
Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. So let me ask you this. Who's been a hero for you? Who's been an inspirational force for you throughout your life?
Well, most directly, my father. Uh, he was a quiet, he was a quiet man. Had his own jewelry store. He was a watchmaker by trade, and extremely patient with me because I was kind of I don't know, I wasn't a delinquent by any means, but I was very opinionated and very self-righteous uh, today, don't I? So, but he taught me that anything I wanted to do, I could do. I I always had this sneaking suspicion that I was sort of a charlatan, that I was sort of a fraud because things came so easily to me. And I met a woman who was a psychiatrist, um, and she said, so, she asked me these series of questions. Has everything always come easy? Yes. Do you see things in your mind? I said, I do. I can see pages. When I'm reading a book, I can tell you where it is. And um, she said, that's just a gift. She said, you needn't feel guilty about it. And you needn't feel as though you're faking it because you're not. That's just who you are. And then uh, I was now in Texas. I came to Texas in 1980. I was hired by Tenneco Oil, and my boss was a lawyer, non-practicing lawyer, a wonderful woman, Gloria Aldridge. And she said, we'll pay if you want to go to law school at night. And so I had a dream that I was on a merry-go-round. And as I was coming up to this telephone pole, there was a box on the side of it. And at the bottom of the box in this little slot was a gold ring. And the message I got was, now is the time. You better go now. So I woke up and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to law school. And she said, what? I said, yep, I'm going to law school. And so I did. And I finished magna cum laude, law review, all this stuff. I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
So what made you write The Bomb Quest? What was the impulsion for you to write and to construct this world in the book?
Well, what happened there was 5 or 6 times in my life, including what I just told you about, I've had visions. And so again, about I'm sad to admit, but about 20 years ago, I woke up and I had had this dream. And the dream was that we had dropped a hydrogen bomb on Tokyo at the end of World War II that was secret and that it didn't explode. And now it was there waiting for someone to find it. And I thought, man, I've got to write that book.
Yeah.
And so some friends of mine gave me some spiral notebooks, some of which I still have. And I began to write the book longhand because I'm such a terrible typist.
Yeah.
So I began to write the book longhand and I finished the first draft. Now, I wrote in spits and spats. Took one of my kids on a cruise ship for kids, and so there's not much to do. So I wrote on a yellow pad. And I then began to combine all these things together. And all along the way, I was telling people, yeah, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book. So along came COVID, and I thought, man, I'd really gotta kind of step it up here, or I'm going to go to my grave saying I'm writing a book. And then, unfortunately, 4 years ago, so I started doing a little better. 4 years ago, we lost our daughter at 29 unexpectedly. She accidentally passed away. So I thought, huh, I really do have to step it up now because I was 68 years old. I'm 72 now. And if I'm going to do it, I need to do it. So I began every morning before I went to work, hour. Every night when I came home from work, hour and a half, as I began to revise the manuscript and weave the characters together. And because part of the book takes place in 1945, part of it takes place in St. Louis, part of it takes place in New York, part of it takes place in Japan, the challenge was bringing all these characters to life and weaving all their stories together so that it would make sense to the reader. And then about a year ago or so, I was introduced to D'Angelo Publishing. Sequoia is the owner of the company. And she said, I'll publish your book. I said, well, okay. So I hired a woman from San Antonio, and she typed what I had handwritten, all these scraps of paper. And then I went through it all again. And I sent it off to Sequoia. And she said, oh, this is pretty rough. And I'm like, I've revised this thing 10 times. It's not rough. It's a work of art.
Yeah.
No, not so much. So anyway, she assigned an editor to me and then began cutting out huge sections of the book, tearing my heart out. But the end result was um, the product that we have now.
So let me ask you this. If you were to have a dream tonight, run into the 18-year-old version of you and have like kind of a book of your life, of everything that you've done, everything you've accomplished, writing a book, being in law for this long, would that young version of you believe it?
Huh, that's a darn good question. He would not have thought I would have written a book. Uh, he probably would have thought I was going to move out of Michigan because the economy is so slow. And I guess I was ordained to become a lawyer. So, yeah, I probably would have accepted that.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing, but uh, yeah, that is what most people that are in debate, a lot of them are lawyers.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the guys that I knew from way back then who was at Northwestern when I was at Michigan, we're friends today. And his debate partner is the head of Berkeley School of Law and probably the smartest man I've ever met, Erwin Shawinski.
So let me ask you this: if you were to walk into a room of everybody that knows you in a legal capacity as a lawyer, and you went to the front of that room and you told them one of the funnest stories, one of the most just a fun story of a case that you covered or something that happened to you in your law career, what would be a revealing fun story that would open up a portal to who you are?
Well, I would have to say, showing up in court, um, people hire me to help them try cases because I've tried hundreds. I was hired to show up in court and listen to this young man do pick a jury. It's called voir dire here in Texas. Voir dire would be the French way to say it, but we're in Texas. You're in Kansas, you probably say it the same way,
Yeah.
or Missouri.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I'm sitting there, and this young man's trying to pick a jury, and every time he makes a comment, because there's certain things you can say and certain things you can't say, and he kept saying the wrong thing, and the judge kept scolding him, and the lawyer kept objecting, and he began to get more and more deflated. And finally, he turned around and looked at me and said, "You have to do it." I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you need to do the voir dire. I can't go on." His clients are sitting there.
Wow.
I'm like, "I don't even know your clients' names." So I said, "Well, hand me the petition, the lawsuit." And I asked the judge for a minute. So I scanned the lawsuit real quickly. I now know what our lawsuit's about. And so I stood up and picked a jury, looking down occasionally to remember my clients' names, who I'd never met.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that was a most amusing experience under the gun. And when I tell people that story, they're like, "Oh man, only you could do that." And then we won the case. As a matter of fact, we won the case. And the jury said afterwards that they knew that the young guy had had a problem, and that I had, saved his hiney, uh, and that I was so calm about it, which I am a relatively calm human these days, that they were engaged. And
Yeah.
that's what you want when you pick a jury, have them be engaged.
Yeah.
Same thing when you have people reading your book.
Yeah.
You
Sure.
want them to be engaged, which is why I started off the book with, "This is what happened, and this is what I'm here for." The hero, Joshua Meister.
Yeah. So, of everything that you've done in your life, everything you've accomplished, everything you've evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
Hmm. Uh, huh. Gosh, I don't know. I guess that I've been fortunate enough to touch a number of people in a positive way
Yeah.
by sharing with them, uh, sympathizing with them if that's what was required. Uh, the same psychiatrist I mentioned earlier, told me that I'm an empath. I mean, people come up to me and just start talking to me.
Yeah.
And so I would say that for me, the most rewarding part of my life has been to share, listen with people, and have them walk away feeling enriched.
So, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, all of your clients, everyone that gets your book, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, well, for sure, someone who's grateful to be alive. Um, Someone who has not taken time to smell the roses, wishes I had more. Um, and someone who derives pleasure out of the simplest things. The birds, we have trees, so I get to hear the birds,
Yeah.
the cloud formations, and on a visceral level, I've got a number of cars and I love driving.
Yeah. So, if anyone wants to pick up a copy of The Bomb Quest, they want to reach out to you, any of the other good business in your world, where's the best place to go?
Well, the book they sold out on Amazon the first go round. So they can, if they want to buy the book, they can go to D'Angelo Publishing. They'll sell it to them.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to reach out to me, um, apparently I have an Instagram page, which I think is David Kent. And I am such a Neanderthal when it comes to this stuff, which
Yeah.
is why I had trouble originally this morning. But yeah, if anybody wants to visit with me about anything, um, yeah, reach out to me. Find me on Facebook. My
Okay.
name is David. Well, it's on the screen, David Mestemaker, and I'll be glad. Don't give me one of these. "Hey, I keep seeing your name and come across my Facebook." I get those all the time. I think we all do.
Yeah.
No, you don't. But if someone says something actually that's not AI generated, yeah, I'm delighted to talk to anybody. Uh, One thing that has just started happening is budding authors have reached out to me.
Yeah.
Um, how do you do this? How do you do that? And all I can tell them is what I do. Um, and it's I follow the rules that I've been taught, which are get a big board, write your thoughts in little circles, and then connect the circles, put them in a corner. That's this person. That's this character.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a female lead.
Yeah.
She is this, this, and this. Well, now you've got all the ingredients to make the cake.
Yeah.
And now all you have to do is bake it,
Yep.
which is work. No kidding.
Yeah.
Real arduous work because you're reading the same stuff you've read for years and you want it to come to life.
Yeah.
You want them to see what you see. And I think that is what perhaps has helped me write is I can write what I see in my mind.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I will put all the links in the show notes to make sure everybody's guided in the right direction. This has been absolutely wonderful, David. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck on the book. It sounds like it's already doing wonderful. So best of luck with it.
thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank
Yeah,
you,
me
sir.
too. Thank you. Take care.